What's happening, boxing fans? It's your boy, Full Counter Boxing, coming back at you with another boxing video for the boxing heads and the boxing minds. Please smash that like button for your boy for more hardcore boxing content. Now, Terence Crawford, he don't have a promotional company. He's suing Bob Arum, and for years and years, the narrative um, has been that Terence Crawford and he wants to fight the PBC fighters, and none of the PBC fighters wanted to fight Crawford because he was so scary and he's so skillful, and you know I have no problem with the narrative, but long as we know the truth, you know what I'm saying. And I don't want to get on no petty stuff, but it's time for Crawford to, you know, you put Crawford on a higher level than this petty stuff because you want to see him. Even 2 years ago when he re-signed with Top Rank, it was a letdown because we seen all that potential in Terence Crawford being a big time fighter, a special fighter. Um, we wanted to see him fight, the big fights, but that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? For the people who are really, in the Bud Crawford coat. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much you are a fan of Terence Crawford, unless you just go along with all the bullshit that goes along with Terence Crawford, you know what I'm saying? You're not on his side. You hate Terence Crawford. So nobody cares about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Nobody want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? This is about boxing. This is not about beating off Terence Crawford. This is not about, dick riding Terence Crawford. This is about being a boxing fan, wanting Bud to make the best moves to get the fights. You know what I'm saying? This is not about being Errol Spence Jr. fan. This is about Terence Crawford not making the wrong moves, you know what I'm saying, so he don't get the fights. So when you see, somebody that's not making the right moves to get the fight, that tells you something, right? And all the fights are at PBC. And then, if you follow my channel, you'll see I've said this plenty of times. I even predicted the move of him going up to fight Jermell Charlo to get ahead of Errol Spence Jr., you know what I'm saying, to become undisputed. Now, if Errol Spence fans was on some bullshit like Terence Crawford fan, they would call that a duck by Terence Crawford. But that's silliness. You know what I'm saying? That's stupidity. That'd be the same, dick riding shit that they claim that Errol Spence Jr. fans are on if you call Terence Crawford a duck for moving up to fight um 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 what's his name, Jermell Charlo, right? So it's just a way to shit on a fighter and not hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is that we know they're gonna face off. You know what I'm saying? But the fans want so hard to make this shit toxic and want to make it. You know what I'm saying? They want to. I don't know if Bud have fans or they just have he has Errol Spence haters. They hate Errol Spence so much that they use Bud Crawford or they'll use Jerome Boots Ennis, what I'm saying, just to attack. And I think it's like Keith Thurman fans, tell you the truth. I think they're real Keith Thurman fans because now you see this whole uprise of Keith Thurman fans coming out, what I'm saying, shitting on Spence, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's a lot of mixed match, hate, what I'm saying, between Bud Crawford fans and Keith Thurman fans jumping on the bandwagon. So with that said, what I'm saying, I wouldn't mind seeing Terence Crawford move up to fight Jermell Charlo. And if you see, I had a video way back where I predicted that he might make this move. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying, I don't, you can consider it a duck, but I don't care about that kind of shit. I just want to see the fans, push boxing, what's really happening in boxing and not get stuck on this bullshit about who's ducking who. And, these fighters, making the moves to make sure that they can get these fights done. And what I see is, but he just reluctant. His camp is not giving him good advice because, even though I'm not a business major, or some things are just common sense in boxing. If all your competition is at the PBC, and we said this 2 years ago before he re-signed with Bob Arum, that if PBC has all the fighters at 147, that's where he needs to go. And as he move up to 154, like everything boxing said, what I'm saying, and knockout, my brother's knockout boxing said that, even at 154, the PBC, what I'm saying, they have all the fighters up there also. So how are you going to break in? You have to do business with the PBC. It only makes sense, right? And so I don't understand how the boxing fans and Bud Crawford camp are getting caught up in emotional, uh, this emotional mountain. What I'm saying, that you can't penetrate. What I'm saying, you can't deal with somebody's stubbornness. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to sign with the PBC, then they're just gonna move on, man. And you can say what you want to say. You can say Errol Spence Jr. is ducking. You can say Errol they protecting Earls. You can make up all these different crazy narratives, but in the end, you're the one who's not making the fight. Just like when Terence Crawford didn't take the 40%, they were trying to say they made it so the 40% isn't real. They're getting down to they're making up shit about he didn't send a contract, and it's like none of this stuff makes any sense. What I'm saying? You got to go to the PBC. You got to talk to Al Heyman. Just like Earl Spence was saying. What I'm saying, call Al, call Al. He told the world that Bob was full of smoke and mirrors, and here it is exposed. He's full of smoke and mirrors. He lied to Bud about getting the Errol Spence Jr. fight. Errol Spence Jr. already knew this, right? So he tried to put Crawford on game, and no matter how much he tries to help Terence Crawford, his competitive nature is to hate Errol Spence Jr. and not accept nothing from that direction, and it's only business. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence Jr. told you a long time ago he can like you and still fight you in the ring. So you got to be able to you got to separate the emotion, from you got to separate business from your emotional needs. You know what I'm saying? Um, um, your emotional issues, that you may have with the PBC, and make the fight. And you don't want to be embarrassed about the things you said about you took it. See, this is what happens when you take shit to the gutter. You know what I'm saying? And on your way up, you shit on everybody, but then on your way down, you may have to come across and do business with those people. And this is a prime example. So it's not to dump on Bud. Everybody wants to see Bud get those fights with the PBC. But see, you're trying to make sense out of something that don't make sense because you just support the fighter no matter what. There's no accountability for Bud Crawford if you keep telling him he don't have to do nothing and he don't have to sign with the PBC. Okay, that's well and good, but you're not going to see these fights, is what I'm telling you. And so you can insult the world, but nothing will change the facts of simple common sense. And we want to see the fights, but you know what I'm saying? Whole Bud Camp and his whole fan base, they're just on an entirely, street level type emotional type bullshit. And, this is about getting business done to where all the fights are. And, Errol Spence Jr. just may have to move on because you can't really do business with ignorance. And that's what we see in a lot of the black community. You don't want to do business with black people. What I'm saying? You're willing to get screwed. A black person is willing to get fucked out of money with white people than to do good business with black people. And that's what we're seeing nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And that really it's that slave mentality that we've been programmed And black people ready to kill each other. You know what I'm saying? Over some small, um, you know, some small thing, and a white person can slap the shit out of them, and they accept it. You know what I'm saying? They'll try to find any other avenue. You know what I'm saying, to deal with it. When it comes to a white person, well, when it comes to a black person, they go balls to the wall. You know what I'm saying? The chest comes out and all the emotions and stuff, insults and everything. You know what I'm saying? So even though Errol Spence Jr. is trying to help Terence Crawford, he don't want Errol Spence Jr. help because of the rivalry, and it's going to hurt him in the long run. So hopefully, Terence Crawford will move up to 154. Maybe he'll beat Jermell Charlo. Who knows? He definitely got the skills, but I don't know. It'll be a 50-50 fight because of the power of Jermell Charlo. He always has a chance to, knock Terence Crawford out because Terence Crawford has to acclimate himself to 154, and that would be a good fight. But if Terence Crawford can get undisputed up there at 154, he could, you know what I'm saying? That would be a good face off between him and Errol Spence Jr., and he'll have better leverage. You know what I'm saying? Up there at 154. But I've said this before. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't think at the time that Terence Crawford would do something like that. But that would show that he does believe in himself and he is the man. That we think he is, and that will end a lot of this. Stuff about Terence Crawford if he goes up there and fight Jermell Charlo. Because if he's willing to fight Jermell Charlo, I know he's willing to fight Errol Spence Jr. He just don't want to take a back seat to Errol Spence Jr. fame, and you know what I'm saying? Because Terence Crawford, he's done a lot in the sport, and I understand he has a lot of pride, but at the same time, if you do business with Amir Khan, who isn't half the star you are, and you take 40% from Amir Khan, or you take a lower percentage from a Manny Pacquiao, and you can beat both of these guys. You already beat Amir Khan, and you could probably beat Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? But you're willing to take a smaller percentage. You can't turn around on your brother, Errol Spence Jr. and demand the world. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's all about just getting the business done, because if you can beat them, everybody just want to see the fight, and you should do everything you can to get the fight just so you can beat Errol Spence Jr. Nobody's saying that Terence Crawford can't, but he's making it impossible because of the power of the niggertree in his camp and the power of the niggertree in his fans. And that's something that's very frustrating when you see in the black community, when people get ignorant and they stop listening and they stop just following common sense, and they make things about make things personal, instead of making it about sportsmanship of boxing and making it about being a competitive nature type thing. Now it's about Errol Spence Jr. being a bitch, and all about the hatred of Errol Spence Jr., and that's what they love. That's where they want to keep it at. That it's not about making the fight. There's a lot of boxing fans who don't even want to see the fight. They just want to keep up this toxic war and be able to insult the fighters that they don't like, and that don't make sense. As a boxing fan, I want to see Terence Crawford fight the best. I don't care if he win, lose. I just want to see who is the best in the divisions. And too many boxing fans make it about other things than that. And you know what I'm saying? It makes it even hard to talk boxing because people own some stupid ass shit all the time on this boxing talk. You know what I'm saying? They fake lies, and what I'm saying, just no integrity, no morality. Just mixing up facts with lies all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's just frustrating because all we want to do is see who are the best fighters. But people are making money from the hatred of different fighters like Errol Spence Jr., Canelo, or the love for fighters like Canelo and Terence Crawford. So They're just playing the fan bases against each other. But that's not my thing. My thing is just to see who the best is. And if you're not making the moves to see who is the best in the division, then what are we talking about? What are we doing here? It makes boxing, you know, a fake sport. You know what I'm saying? You can't talk about it honestly. You know what I'm saying? If you can't talk boxing honestly, you know what I'm saying? Then you're just an opportunist. You know what I'm saying? And I know there's a place for opportunists, but we got to separate the channels, the purest channels from the bullshit channels who's just, making money on controversy. And I don't want to make money on controversy. What I want to do is I want to talk to boxing fans that know the sport and they cook on what's happening in boxing that's real. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Don't care about all the insults and all the toxicity that's going on, you know what I'm saying, with these fans and the dumb shit. And, you know, hopefully we'll get a resolution to all this. We got to wait and see if they're gonna, after Aerosmith Jr. finish up with Ugas, is that gonna be, what I'm saying, is there going to be, a final showdown between Aerosmith Jr. and Terence Crawford? That would be epic, man. And what I'm saying, it don't matter who win or lose because we both win because we like both of these guys. It's just that Terence Crawford is changing it into a personal type situation, and he's doing too much. You know what I'm saying? He's doing too much. His camp is doing too much. And, that's something that happens, what I'm saying, in our black community is that, we overdo it. And, what I'm saying, we got to get away from that because, you know, it turns into something other than sports. And that's all this is. If you're getting that upset about, what I'm saying, boxing, then you got a lot of deranged folks out here that shouldn't be participating in sport or watching the sport or being around, what I'm saying, people that enjoy the sport. But that's all I got. You know what I'm saying? This has been Pool Counter Boxing. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. And you know what I'm saying? Remember what I say. Law don't go around here, law dog. Yes, I have. See you guys in the next one.